So once again, it's time for one of those videos that I say is going to be released more toward the beginning of the month or the middle of the month and inevitably gets pushed all the way back to the end of the month because I've had a lot going on lately. But it is here, and I do like doing this, and I like supporting the Glyos community because they are very cool people from everyone I've met so far. So, as usual, if you weren't paying attention to the world of Glyos in the month of August, here is what you missed. Surprisingly little, now that I think of that. There were only 3 releases from what I remember. Only 3 companies did drops. And unfortunately, I don't have anything from Knee Stuff's drop from August. I love the Knee Stuff's figures, and he had some really cool colors this time. But I don't know, I've been a lot pickier with my money lately, and just some things just kind of fall by the wayside. So hopefully the Outlanders will be coming back to this show at some point. But for now, the month of August was more about 2 companies. But before that, since I got some extra time, I want to point out something that I really, really like about the Glyos community, and that is the community itself. Because it's kind of like a small town. Everyone pretty much knows each other. You know, like everyone I've dealt with personally for purchases and trades, they've all known my Glyos 101 videos, which is kind of awesome. But I've never seen the community more helpful in, helping others get the ones that they're after, because there's so many Glyos releases, and it's so hard to go and get the old ones that you might have missed out on, like me, who got a late start, and I've got years of catching up to do. For instance, take this guy. This is a Neo Nebula Armorvore in 2-tone purple, which I think looks absolutely awesome. I've failed many times to get a hold of one of these, and when I finally did, it was pretty uneventful. What led me to going elsewhere to get one is what the event was. See, a cool guy I just met tried to sell me one that someone else didn't come and pay for like they were supposed to, and after he said I could go ahead and have it, the guy came back and paid. So we both kind of got screwed over on that one. However, because of the inconvenience, he cut me an awesome deal on one of these. This is an Ultra Silver Argyn. Argyn being one of the more complex builds that Onell releases. And I love how it looks in the Ultra Silver colors. Very, very cool. He also sent me some extra Ultra Silver bits to start building him with and upgrading. Now, I did buy some actual figures from him, but there was a piece missing. Kinda, it happens. I've done it too. So, it's an easy thing to do. But instead, when he sent me the piece that was missing, he also sent me a little bit more Ultra Silver to build with. So, how much Ultra Silver did this guy hook me up with? That much. That's a lot of bits. There's 2 whole figures in here, including all the bits for another Argyn, and then some. There's like 6 Argyn heads in here. So it was extremely cool, and the whole community is like that. They're all very helpful. I mean, I think the one figure that I really had a bad experience trying to get a hold of was an Apocalypse Sarvos, but that's a really, really rare one, so I can kind of understand why they're a little bit less than cooperative when it comes to that. It happens. So let's get to the actual new Glyos that came out in August, and if I'm right, some of this is actually still available. As usual, you can check the links in the description to the companies who made these things. Go ahead and check their shops and sites if they are still available. Let's see if you'll find anything you like. God Beast got back to basics with his Kabuto Mushis in August, and I could not be happier. I love the homages he's been doing in the last few months, but I miss the simple colors that are easy and fun to build with, and he finally brought some of that back. First off, in the gunmetal that everyone has been using lately, this thing looks epic in these colors. I mean, it's a very basic paint scheme, and that's the idea. This makes it easy to build with. Everything else that comes, in the gunmetal can build with this, and it all matches up. Most companies also try to stick with the same basic paint that goes with them too. So it does get easy to mix and match. Actually, since I can just reach over and grab, boom. There's the Argent that was released in the same colors. And you can tell that's the exact same shade of red paint too. This is what I love. You know, these are completely interchangeable, completely able to build between the two, and all the parts will look identical and match up. It's a beautiful thing. And I keep meaning to have something pre-built out of multiple companies, and I never really get to it. So, like, the only one I have on hand is my Johnny 5, which I still haven't unbuilt. This is a Ultra Silver again, and you can see it's done up in a RoboForce figure and an Onell figure. Specifically a Phaseon and Nerion. But yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. All the parts from 2 different toys from 2 different companies, and all the paint, all the molding, all matches up, and it's all interchangeable. That's what I love about this. So Johnny goes back over there, and I'll continue to show you bugs. Here we have the teal. The metallic teal is kind of the flavor of the month. Every now and then, a new color comes out in the plastics, and everyone kind of takes a hold of it. Onell just released a bunch of figures this month, actually, in this color. And it's a beautiful shade in person. I don't know if the camera... Unfortunately, the camera is not good at picking up a lot of the shades that these plastics are in, but I can assure you, in real life, this is just, like, epic. And you can see just how metallic it is. It's a perfect shade for that metal finish. But on top of that, but that's the color that a lot have been using lately. He was the first to do it, though. However, he was the first to break out this. Now, this is another one that's very hard to actually get on camera. I look at my viewfinder now, and he looks blue. He looks very, very blue. When I look at it with my eyes, it's purple. See, it's actually a metallic indigo, and I swear... there are times I look at it and it's obviously purple. There are times I look at it and it's obviously blue. It rides the line so perfectly, and it's all about how the light hits it, which is kind of played up by that metallic element added to it. But it's a really nice color in person. It's a very deep, very, very sharp color. I'm such a fan of it. I'm really hoping someone else picks up on that. But it is one that is not photograph friendly, as Godbeast and even Matt at Onell kind of figured out. It's just not photogenic. However, there were some that, well, these are very simple. Over at the Godbeast, Marty really likes his colors and he really likes his paint apps, so he starts creating things like this. So a while back, he released something called the Cyborg Mushi, which is based on Takaro's old Henshin Cyborg figure. The same paint apps, right down to the shade of gold, is given to this in Infection Translucent Red, but it's also got a glitter effect to it, which is something old figures called Galaxy figures did. And it creates this beautiful effect. Like, I'm not a fan of the translucent reds. You know, if I show you how the original Infection Mushi looked, you can tell it's kind of boring compared to the new one. This one just pops so much more. The details shine, the horns being gold, and that glitter effect just adds a bit of depth to it. I love how this looks. Absolutely love it. Love it so much, I also got the Smoky Galaxy version. Absolutely beautiful. And I love this. I love how the silver works too. It's a much more subtle combination of colors, but man, does it work. Man, does it look good. So yeah, that was an entire swarm of bugs coming out of the Godbeast this month, and they look beautiful. And the best part is the three, you got 3 basic ones that can be interchanged and interbuilt with each other, or just self-contained builds are really fun with Mushis. And of course, they are compatible with everything else released in those colors, so it all works out. Which I have to admit, I do prefer to the heavy painted homages that he's been doing. That said, there is another Glyos company that really likes its homages, and they hit a few that really, really hit home for me. And I've been waiting for them to do these ever since they first showed off these molds. It is the return of... Hang on, Dusty. It is a return of my original Glyos line, my favorite Glyos line, the Weaponeers of Monka. Looking a little bit more familiar than they probably normally do. So, yes, Optimus Prime and Megatron, done up out of the Weaponeer of Monka molds. Brian and Jeremy over at Spy Monkey made sure these molds were very, very reminiscent of a lot of different 80s toys, and there's a lot you can do with all of them. That all it takes is a little bit of paint and a little bit of clever part placement, and you can get something that, you know, very, very strongly resembles, you know, classic characters from the 80s. You know, if you've seen these in the past, they've done them for He-Man a lot. I think they're up to 3 different He-Man figures now. Here's Transformers, and I know they've probably got, you know, dozens of other ideas. So yeah, so this is the Optimus Prime look-alike. This is I believe they called it Optimus Gyro, or Optimum Gyro. It's one of those, like, oh, it's kind of like third party. Oh, the name's close, so you kind of know who it is. They did cheat a little bit. They've actually got one of the extra heads as kind of an arm blaster thing here, because the edit fist was needed to create the smokestack effect on his back. But I do think it's a very clever touch. The yellow section on the pelvis is kind of a thing that I see on Prime a lot. The windows of, you know, using the chest as the windows, that's a clever thing. Just leaving that centerpiece red, you know, without painting it in or anything, really it does make it look very much like Prime's chest. And then you have Wilhelm, the Megatron lookalike, looking absolutely awesome. Now, they did include a bunch of extra parts in order to make sure this works. As you can see, he's got his fusion cannon all mounted and ready. I love that they thought to include that. And as you can see, yeah, it does pretty much everything the usual Weaponeers do. They are blocky, they are solid, and if you notice, still a fair bit bigger than your standard Glyos toy. It's one of the reasons why I recommend the Weaponeers as a first-time Glyos purchase, because if you notice, it's all 45 and 90 degree angles. It's very unintimidating to build with, and they are so solid and so much larger than your typical Glyos figures. Last I checked, Spy Monkey ran a sale recently where you could get some really good ones with a lot of parts for pretty freaking cheap. But with these kind of hitting hitting that Transformer vibe so strongly, you know, maybe this is the gateway that some people need, you know, just so you can try out what Glyos is like and not quite leave your comfort zone. So these I was really excited about, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else these guys can do. In particular, this metallic red and the ultra silver, I'm really hoping some of the old characters come back in those colors, because they would look beautiful redone in, you know, much shinier version 2s. But that is speculation for another day. That's pretty much all the Glyos that came out. Even O'Neill didn't release anything in August, saving it all back for a big September release instead. So I guess hopefully I'll do this again next month. Hopefully not waiting till the end of the month again. But I got a lot more to show off there, and hopefully a lot more coming out soon, because this stuff just keeps coming, and the creativity just does not stop out of these companies. Like, I love seeing what comes next from all these guys. So, that's it. I will see you guys in, hopefully a couple weeks for the next one. Or most likely a month. You know how this goes.